In the late 90s, professional wrestling was at its peak. The Monday Night Wars were in full swing. WWE and WCW were battling for supremacy, ratings, and the hearts of fans around the world. And right in the middle of this chaos emerged a man unlike anyone else. A man who didn't speak much, didn't smile, didn't care about flashy promos or over-the-top gimmicks. He was a stormer wrecking machine. His name was Goldberg. When Goldberg debuted in WCW in 1997, nobody expected what was coming from his very first match. It was clear this guy was different. The entrance, the intensity, the football background. He wasn't just wrestling, he was obliterating opponents in under 2 minutes. One by one, they fell. Hugh Morris, gone. The Barbarian, flattened. Disco Inferno, Glacier Raven, none of them stood a chance. Each week, fans would tune in not to see if Goldberg would win, but how fast he'd do it. The streak grew, 10-0.25-0.50-0. By the time it hit 100. Goldberg wasn't just a superstar, he was WCW's biggest attraction. The man was a phenomenon, and crowds erupted with every spear, every jackhammer, and every single "Who's next?" But it wasn't just the fans watching WWE took notice too. While Vince McMahon was building The Rock, Austin and DX WCW had created a real-life monster. Someone who didn't need catchphrases or stunners, just raw power. Goldberg wasn't just undefeated, he was undeniable. At Starrcade 1998. The streak finally came to an end at 173-0. But by then, the legacy was already sealed. Goldberg's run wasn't just a storyline, it was a moment in wrestling history. A moment where one man, fueled by intensity, changed the game forever. This ... is the story of Goldberg's legendary undefeated streak, the most unstoppable force WCW and all of pro wrestling had ever seen. The birth of a monster, September 22, 1997, on an ordinary episode of WCW Monday Nitro. Something extraordinary happened. A newcomer named Bill Goldberg stepped into the ring against a veteran known as Hugh Morrus. No one knew what to expect, but in less than 3 minutes, everything changed. Goldberg wasn't just another rookie. He was a former NFL player, a real athlete, built like a tank, with intensity in his eyes and explosiveness in every move. He didn't talk, he didn't pose, he destroyed spear, jackhammer 1, 2, 3. That was it. No wasted motion, no theatrics, just dominance. And with that, something began. Something WCW couldn't even imagine at the time. A streak, an aura, a legend in the making. Week after week, Goldberg returned, and week after week, he annihilated every man put in front of him. These weren't just victories, they were warnings. Warnings to the entire WCW roster. There was a new predator in the jungle. At first, they were squash matches. Quick, brutal, efficient. But fans started noticing. The reactions grew louder. The chants of Goldberg shook arenas like earthquakes. Before long, he wasn't just the opening act. He was main eventing Nitro. He didn't need catchphrases, he didn't need managers. His fists spoke. For him, and every time that pyro hit, every time that smoke filled the ramp, you knew someone was about to get wrecked. Goldberg wasn't just winning matches. He was becoming WCW's ultimate weapon. This was no gimmick. This was the birth of a monster. Rise of the streak. WCW saw it. They saw the reaction, they saw the dominance, and they knew Goldberg wasn't just another wrestler. He was lightning in a bottle. So they ran with it. WCW turned Goldberg's rise into something we hadn't really seen in pro wrestling. Before, they marketed him like an undefeated athlete, like a real-world fighter. Every week, the number got bigger. Goldberg is now 57-0. The next week, the only question was how long it would take. And the answer, usually under 2 minutes. Bell rings, spear, jackhammer, pin, done. That combo was unstoppable. No one, and I mean no one, kicked out. Not once, not ever. And here's what made Goldberg so unique. He didn't need complicated storylines, no betrayal angles, no long promos. He didn't cut 10-minute speeches about his enemies, because Goldberg himself was the storyline. He walked in, destroyed, walked out, and the crowd went insane every single time. It wasn't just wrestling anymore, it was Goldberg mania was flying off the shelves. The chants echoed through every arena. He was becoming a symbol of WCW's dominance, their unbeatable war machine. While others entertained, Goldberg intimidated. He didn't talk. He fought, and every victory, every number added to the streak. Only made him more myth than man. This wasn't just a push. This was a phenomenon. The WCW Title, July 6, 1998, the Georgia Dome, Atlanta, Georgia. Over 41,000 fans packed the arena, the largest crowd in WCW Monday. Nitro history, and they weren't just there for any match, they were there for the match. Goldberg versus Hulk Hogan, the unstoppable force, vs the biggest name the wrestling world had ever known. The WCW World Heavyweight Championship was on the line. Hogan was no stranger to the big stage. WrestleMania main events, world titles, global fame. He was wrestling's most iconic figure. But Goldberg was the hottest thing in the business. Still undefeated, still feared, still rising, and now, in front of his hometown crowd, he had a shot at the ultimate prize. The energy that night was different. You could feel it. From the moment Goldberg walked down the aisle, flanked by police, to the chants echoing through the dome, the moment felt historic. And then, it happened. After years of dominance, ego, and dirty wins, Hogan got hit with a spear so loud it shook the crowd. Then the jackhammer, and just like that, 1, 2, 3. The Georgia Dome exploded. The roof nearly came off. Fans jumped, screamed, cried. Goldberg was now the WCW World Heavyweight Champion, still undefeated, still untouchable. It wasn't just a title win, it was a coronation. WCW had officially crowned their king, their monster, their answer to the WWF's Attitude Era. And the crazy part, Goldberg did it all without controversy, without interference, without cheating. He beat Hulk Hogan clean in front of 41,000 fans. On live TV, it was the peak of WCW and the peak of Goldberg's rise. The streak was alive, the title was his, and the legend had just hit a whole new level. The streak becomes a problem at first. It was magic. Goldberg's rise was electric, unstoppable. Every week, the numbers climbed, the aura grew stronger, and the crowd kept roaring. But as the months rolled on, something changed. The excitement slowly turned into predictability. Week after week, same entrance, same outcome, spear, jackhammer, 1-2-3. No promos, no personal feuds, no character development. Goldberg didn't evolve, and fans started to notice what once felt fresh, now felt repetitive. The streak, originally Goldberg's greatest strength, was becoming a creative trap. He couldn't lose. He couldn't show weakness. He couldn't chase the title anymore, because he already had it, and behind the curtain, WCW was starting to crack the numbers. They kept rising, 120-0, 150-0, 173-0. But were they real? Insiders say no. Many believe the streak was inflated, padded with house show results, or outright made up. But by then, it didn't matter, because WCW had backed themselves into a corner. Goldberg couldn't be beat, but someone had to beat him eventually. The problem? There was no plan for what came next. How do you move forward without unraveling everything they had built? The streak that once made Goldberg was now starting to limit him. And with pressure building both on-screen and behind the scenes, the end was coming. Not with honor, not with build-up, but with one of the most controversial finishes in wrestling history. The end will forever be remembered as the man behind the most dominant streak in pro wrestling history. The legend, the destroyer, the phenomenon, this was Goldberg's streak explained. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the moments that changed wrestling forever.